My name's Chris Gordon, and I am the co-founder of 222 Ireland. It's a simple three-digit telephone number for 24/7 non-emergency services. Services that would be for health or social or educational or intervention. If you're looking for food referrals from the St. Vincent de Paul, if you are thinking that tonight you're going to have to spend the night on the street, who do you phone? I have a story for you. And in this story, very quickly, I want you to be the person who's the main sort of hero for me. And it's a story that happened when I was over in Canada. I did a bit of youth work, and I am a youth worker. And I was over in Canada, and I met with a girl, on a friend of mine, on a bus, and we're going from one group to another group and taking it all in. And Canada are doing some fantastic things in social enterprise. And she told me that her Friday night was terrible, but it was okay because it all happened. Everything was okay on Saturday because she phoned 211 Friday. I was like, what's 211? And she told me, as a youth worker, a 14-year-old teenager came into her offices at 4:30 on a Friday afternoon, and he said, I can't go home. Big words for a 14-year-old. And she knew that that was true. He couldn't go home. There was a history of violence, a history of abuse and alcohol in the family. And unfortunately, when he said, I can't go home, she knew it to be true. She did what she would have done in that scenario, and she sat down and she took notes. She did a remarkable thing. She picked up the phone and she dialed a three-digit number, 211, which is Canada's 24/7 non-emergency referral service. She spoke on the phone for about 5 minutes, and then she did, for my eyes, the most incredible thing you could possibly do. She hung up the phone and she did her job. She sat down with the child. She put an arm around. She had a cup of tea. She took notes. She made sure that that child was okay. Half an hour later, she got a phone call back from 211 services. 211 services managed to get the on-call social worker, the contact details for them. Hang tight. They're coming. They managed to get the emergency accommodation that that child would be staying in that night. The main case that had been raised as a result of her making that phone call. And the lead social worker, the names and the contact details that would deal with the entire case come Monday morning. If you were that social worker, if you were that youth worker, what would you do? Can I just emphasize that was at 4:30 on a Friday afternoon. By 5 o'clock, that was all resolved. The kids still had to deal with the problems, but it was done so when everybody and each service that needed to know did know. And it comes down to us. Can we do that here in Ireland? Because what if you're that youth worker? Do you imagine that you would be able to phone somebody? I'm a bit of a youth worker, but I worked in Northern Ireland. I work south and north, but I remember when I was in South Belfast, I carried around the number for the on-call social worker that was available in South Belfast. I didn't know anybody else that carried that number. And I thought, why wouldn't you carry that number? Until you realise that we shouldn't have to do that because the service should have been there. So, came back in proper social enterprise form, you'd be glad to know, to try and make a difference, all enthusiastic and gung-ho. And we wanted to make a difference here. And we wanted to see if we could have 211. Now, we came over here and we converted into 222 because we think like we're 11 times better. But we decided we'd sort of, keep that to us. That's our little secret, and the camera that's recording this for posterity and all time. But no, we decided that we'd keep it. As I said, enthusiastic, come back home, and I want to be able to do this service here because this is something that I could have benefited from when I was working in the north for disclosures that happened to me. So, what happened? I did 3 presentations to Winsent. On the back of that, IT Tallaght came from it. We were able to sort of go ahead and present to IT Tallaght. And we entered a few things that were able to do that, but we also, and I'm glad to have Angela here today, we're in the 3rd round of the Arthur Guinness Fund. We're down from 484 or something to 24. We'd be bowled over if we were managed to be able to start that and get through, but we understand. We're just happy. The doors that have been opened, at least for us to get here, have been incredible. So we want to thank Guinness Fund for their help in that. I wanted to say, what is the 222? What is our vision, and what is that we hope to do? It's 2 main aspects for it. It's a website that people can access information, their own leisure, in their own time, in their own space, for housing or for food referrals or for if you need legal issues. Who here hasn't had an issue that perhaps you or your friend or a close family member has had to deal with palliative care services, for example, and where do you turn to? We have the website, but we also have the number 222, and we want to base that very much on how it is the 2-on-1 runs, except we want to make it a social enterprise. We have a way that we feel of making it free to every single man, woman and child in this room here today, but also that we're able to pay for our own wages to make it happen, to have a number of people who are able to take these calls and make it happen. I just wanted to say a couple of things. If you feel like you're a person who needs services or whatever, you know, and I'm looking across the room here and I'm identifying people from all walks of life, from organisations that are doing good, and you know those organisations. And what a difference it would make if other people had access to those organisations. Just after watching Sensational Kids, it shouldn't have to be difficult for people to have to access that. And it shouldn't have to be difficult for Karen there to be able to provide those services to the people who clearly need it. And what we want to do is be able to bridge that gap. We want to help the organisations get in touch with the volunteers. We want to help the organisations get the notoriety that they need to a degree of being able to deliver on these services. We also want to be able to help people pick up the phone. If you're 6 or 60, you should be able to pick up the phone and ask for help. That help is out there already. I'm finishing up. I wanted to say, you all know the Margaret Mead quote, "Never doubt, a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." I want to create the support that my youth work friend in Canada had. I want that number here, well, 222. We can make things better. We should make things better for the delivery of services in Ireland. We will make things better for the delivery of services in Ireland. We are 222 Ireland, and we want to be one less barrier to help. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.